Hello and welcome back to Kim Reads. Because it is the month of November with Thanksgiving, I would like to read Molly's Pilgrim by Barbara Cohen. I didn't like the school in Winter Hill. In Winter Hill, they laughed at me. Elizabeth laughed most of all. I never raised my hand to answer a question, but when Miss Sticky called on me, I had to say something. My English wasn't perfect yet, so Elizabeth always giggled whatever I said. Miss Sticky would stare at her, and then she'd shut up. But later in the schoolyard, she'd say, "You talk funny, Molly. You look funny, Molly," and then she'd sing a song. "Jolly Molly, your eyes are awfully small. Jolly Molly, your nose is awfully tall." Hilda and Kitty would sing the song too, and sometimes even Faye and Emma. They all admired Elizabeth. She brought peppermint sticks to school and handed them out to all her friends at recess. One day, Elizabeth and Hilda followed me halfway home, singing that terribly small. "Jolly Molly, your eyes are awfully small. Jolly Molly, your nose is awfully tall." Started to run. When I got to our apartment, I bursted in tears. It was all right. I could cry in front of my mother. She put her arms around me. I leaned my head against her chest. She felt like a big, soft cushion. "Shakinit, what's the matter?" she asked. My mother didn't speak much English. She talked to me in Yiddish. "Mama, let's go back to New York City," I said. "In the third grade, there aren't any other Jewish children. I don't talk like the other girls. They make fun of me. I hate going to school." "Oh, Makale," Mama said. "We can't go back to New York City. In New York, Papa had to work in a factory. We had to live in a poor tenement house. Here in Winter Hill, Papa has a good job in Mr. Brodsky's store downstairs, and Mr. Brodsky even let us live in this nice apartment." "Well, then, let's go back to Gorodok," I suggested. "We only came to this country last winter. I bet we could still get our old house back." "If the Cossacks haven't burned it down," Mama snapped. "They burned the synagogue. One day, who knows, they would have burned us. Maybe they grow like onions with their head in the ground." I had known all along we couldn't go back to Russia. "In Gorodok, Jewish girls don't get to go to school at all," Mama went on. "They have to grow up ignorant, like donkeys. I'll go to your school. I'll talk to your teacher. She'll make those Pascha stop teasing you." "No, Mama, no," I interrupted quickly. "You don't have to do that. I don't want Miss Sticky or Elizabeth to see Mama. She didn't talk like the other mothers. She hardly talked English at all. She looked at me either. It'll be all right," I said. "I'll talk to Miss Sticky myself." But of course I didn't. I dragged myself back to school day after day. Nothing changed, but I didn't say another word about it to Mama. Then one day in November, during reading, Miss Sticky said, "Open your books to page 132. It was a new story. I liked it when we started a new story. "You may begin, Molly," Miss Sticky said. I looked at the title. The first fit. I shook my head. "Miss Sticky," she said, "I don't know that word." "It's a hard word, Molly," Miss Sticky said, "especially if you haven't seen it before. Who can tell Mommy what that word is?" Several hands shot up. Miss Sticky called on Elizabeth. "Thanksgiving," she announced, tossing her long black corkscrew curls. I thought everyone knew that. "Thanksgiving," I repeated. "Thanksgiving? What's Thanksgiving?" Elizabeth snorted. "You don't even know about Thanksgiving? I guess you people don't celebrate American holidays." Miss Sticky ignored Miss Stickly ignored Elizabeth. "The story will explain the word, Molly," she said to me. "Go on, start reading." I read 3 sentences. I didn't stumble over any more words. Then Mrs. Stickly told Arthur to read. We took turns. It was a good story. It was about the Pilgrims and how they started the holiday of Thanksgiving. I'd never heard of Pilgrims before. "Now, children," Miss Stickly said when the reading lesson was over, I'm tired of decorating the room with paper turkeys and paper pumpkins every Thanksgiving. I thought this year would be fun to do something different this year. She pointed to the sand table on the back of the room. It had been empty since September. We'll make a model of the Pilgrim Village at Plymouth, Massachusetts, and celebrate the Thanksgiving. She sounded excited. We'll make the houses and the church and their school. But I want you to take the people home. You can make dolls out of clothespins. The boys can make Indians, the girls can make pilgrims. Her eyes moved from one place to another. If you sit in row 1, 2, or 3, make a woman. If you sit in row 4, 5, or 6, make a man. I sat in row 2. To make a pilgrim woman. Bring your dolls tomorrow, Miss Stickley said. Then I'll show you how to make the houses out of cardboard. When I got home, Mama said to me, just like always, "New Shana Kit, do you have any homework?" "I need a clothespin," I said. "A clothespin? What kind of homework is a clothespin?" "I need to make a doll out of it. A pilgrim doll." Mama frowned. "New Makale, what's a pilgrim?" I searched for the words to explain. "Pilgrim," to Mama. "Pilgrims came to this country from the other side," I said. "Like us," Mama said. That was true. They came for religious freedom, I added. They came so they could worship God as they pleased. Mom's eyes lit up. She seemed to understand. "Do you have any other homework?" she asked. "Yes, I have 10 arithmetic problems. They're hard." "Do them," she said, "and then go out and play. I'll make the doll for you. I'll make it tonight. It'll be ready for you in the morning. Just make sure it's a girl doll," I said. Naturally, Mama said. "Who ever heard of a boy doll?" I didn't bother to explain. The next morning, when I sat down at the table for breakfast, the doll was in my place. Maybe she started it out as a clothespin, but you never know to look at her. Mama had covered the clothespin with cloth and stuffing. She had made hair out of darn black yarn. She embroidered the eyes, a nose, and a mouth on the face. She dressed the doll in a long, full red skirt, tiny black felt boots, bright yellow high-neck blouse. She had covered the yarn with yellow kerchief embroidered with red flowers. "She's gorgeous, Mama," I managed to murmur. Mama smiled, satisfied. "But Mama," I added slowly, "she doesn't look like the Pilgrim woman in the picture of my reading book." "No," Mama said. "She looks like you in that photograph you have that was taken when you were a girl." Mama smiled and turned to laugh. "Of course, I did that on purpose." "You did, Mama? Why?" "What's a pilgrim shakinet?" Mama asked. "A pilgrim is someone who came to here from the other side to find freedom." "That's me, Mommy. I'm a pilgrim." I was sure there was something wrong with what Mama was saying. She was not that kind of pilgrim Miss Stickley or reading book had been talking about. But it was too late to make another doll now. All I could do was take the only one I had to school with me. Most of the dolls were out on the desk. I'd carried mine in a long paper bag. I put mine inside my desk without taking it out of the bag. The bell hadn't rung yet. Elizabeth and Hilda were walking up and down the aisles, pointing to the dolls and whispering. When they came to the desk, Elizabeth said in a low voice, "Miss Stickley's gonna be mad at you, Jolly Molly. She doesn't like people who don't do their homework." "I did it," I muttered. "Well, then let's see it." I shook my head. "You didn't do it," Elizabeth taunted. You didn't. I opened the desk and took out the paper bag. I closed the desk and sat the bag on top. Slowly I pulled out the doll. "Oh my goodness," Elizabeth said. "How can anyone be as dumb as you, Jolly Molly? That's not a pilgrim. Mrs. Stickley's gonna be mad at you. Mrs. Stickley's gonna get you this time." My face felt hot as fire. I looked down at my desktop. The bell rang. Elizabeth and Hilda rushed to their desks. I shoved the doll back into my desk. After morning exercises, Mrs. Stickley began to walk around the room, just as Elizabeth had. She looked at each of the dolls. Why, Michael, what a magnificent headdress. Where'd you find so many feathers? Sally, she's lovely, such an interesting face, such beautiful gray silk. Elizabeth, yours is very much a Pilgrim. I think she's the best so far, Elizabeth said. Well, she's very good, Miss Stickley allowed. Then Miss Stickley came to me. Without looking, I pulled the doll on my desk. I heard Elizabeth laugh out loud. My goodness, Molly, she cried. That's not a Pilgrim. That's some Russian or Polish person. What does a person like that have to do with the Pilgrims? She's very beautiful, Mrs. Stickley said. Perhaps Molly just didn't understand. I looked up at Miss Stickley. Mama said, I began. Elizabeth giggled again. Miss Stickley put her hand on my shoulder. Tell me what your mama said, Molly. The doll is dressed like Mama, I explained. Mama came to America for religious reasons too. Mama said she was a Pilgrim. Elizabeth hooted. She wasn't the only one. Miss Stickley marched up in front of the room. She turned and faced the class. Listen to me, Elizabeth, she said in a loud voice. Listen to me, all of you. Molly's mother is a Pilgrim. She's a modern Pilgrim. She came here, just like the Pilgrims a long time ago, so she could worship God in her own way in peace and freedom. Miss Stickley stared at Elizabeth. Elizabeth, do you know where the Pilgrims got the idea for Thanksgiving? They just thought it up, Miss Stickley, Elizabeth said. No, Elizabeth, Miss Stickley replied. They read it in the Bible about the Jewish harvest holiday of the Tabernacles. I knew that holiday. We called it Succoth. Miss Stickley was still talking. The Pilgrims got the idea for Thanksgiving from Jews like Molly and her mama. She marched from the aisle to my desk. May I have your doll for a while, Molly? Sure, I said. I'm going to put this beautiful doll on my desk, Miss Stickley announced, where everyone can see it all the time. It will remind us that the Pilgrims are still coming to America. She smiled at me. I'd like to meet your mama, Molly. Please ask her to come to see me one day after school. Your doll is the most beautiful, Molly, Emma said. Emma sat next to me. Your doll is the most beautiful of all. I nodded. Yes, I know. I decided if Miss Stickley actually invited her, it was all right for Mama to come to school. I decided something else, too. I decided it takes all kinds of Pilgrims to make a Thanksgiving. And that's the end. Thanks for listening.